Cloud. All right, the cloud is recording.
The cloud. All right, so first up on our agenda, we have the CriblCon beta. How do you pronounce that? You put the star in there? Can I pronounce it fully and say it's an asterisk?
However you want to,
That has not been defined yet.
listen, this is, another one of those things where nothing's set in stone. We're building this thing. It's mostly for you. So we don't want to build it for us. We want to build it for you. That it goes from the name to the how we execute and all that good stuff. So yeah, that's what we're
All right. In any case, we're going to talk about whatever that thing is going to be,
Yeah.
Or maybe, or shall be. And I think, Erin, you had some stuff you wanted to ask in a slide or two or something?
Yeah, I have a couple of slides. I hope that's not like totally against the rules, but can y'all see this?
Yeah.
Here? All right, so the general gist is like, we talked to a couple of you and the gist was we maybe, we maybe aren't like the most important tool that you're using every day, and you've already got other conferences that you would like to attend and are already maybe approved for payment and the like. So shoving another one of those on when there are still, crazy travel policies and budget challenges and the like may not be easy. So what we thought we would do is try to tie on to some of the events that you all are likely already attending. So we will do something at RSA in Las Vegas around the time of .conf and Cisco Live and Snowflake, which are all in the same week in Las Vegas. And then something, we were trying to think like, and by the way, we're still looking for space for all of these things. So this is aspirational. And then something hopefully straddling between Black Hat and DEF CON, knowing that things sometimes get a little crazy around those two. But, hopefully if someone's staying a little longer for Black Hat, maybe not staying for DEF CON, or maybe can come in a little early. If you're just coming for DEF CON, then that's what we'll shoot for. So that's first thing. And then the second thing is just like the reality of that is it's probably gonna be like a happy hour on steroids, but I still just like, kind of wanted to hear a little bit more from you, because there's this year obviously, but then we still want to set ourselves up for something, more compelling next year. So, we kind of think like some sort of a sense of the roadmap or where things are going, to help you all plan how you may continue to use or evolve your use of Cribl and Logstream, connecting with peers, especially since these are our first events back. I think just, high-fiving each other in person is going to be awesome. So connecting with peers and leaving like time for that to share and network and brainstorm. And then sort of like, how do we have a forum to collaborate and give help live with Cribl employees and with customers? And then hear other sorts of ideas. We want to make sure it's, unique from any other content you would get in a regional event. We want to make sure that it's not sales oriented. And if we can kind of mix social and learning experiences, that's what we'd like to try to do. But again, we think we're going to be constrained from just a space and a timing perspective, that it will probably be like a happy hour timing from like 5 to 11. So then also if people just want to, drop in, then you're able to do that for a bit. And then we were thinking, and these are just, thoughts. So tell us, no, that's absolutely not what we want to see, but like, could be a founder fireside chat where they cover the roadmap stuff, but then also sort of like what's important to them and what they want to hear, what they would like to hear more about from you. A customer fireside chat where we have a panel of customers and they can kind of talk about what they're doing. Or we could do something where people just do presentations of like 15 minutes of like, here's a problem I had and here's how I solved it, with like the real, like, kind of tactical, here are the things that I did. So we could do something like that. And then we don't have to have any content. It could also just be, here's a happy hour. Yeah, just let's have a happy hour. And then set up like whiteboards and demo stations. So if people kind of want to ad hoc go do something, then we could do that. And then the last thing is, I think it'd be cool if you all nominated who you hang out with in Slack or whatever from Cribl. And instead of us being like, oh, we think we're going to take these people that are really smart and important, that it'd be cool for you to also meet the people that you want to meet in person too. So I'd love to have you nominate people. So this, I will stop now. And I would like to listen.
I just wanted to point out that you did mess up something. Cribl is absolutely the most important tool I use every single day. So
Oh,
just want to throw that out there. Don't sell yourself short.
quote.
It's like Cribl, computers, and then everything else.
Nice.
Speaking of quote-worthy things, if you ever want to be on our podcast, and that's anyone who's on here, please let me know.
Yeah.
I'd also like to agree. I can throw my sim out tomorrow. But we'll see.
I like the point about making it not sales oriented. I wonder if there's an opportunity though to actually create a more sales oriented version of this so that you can keep them separate and keep one of them a really technical thing that is not about sales because, hey, by the way, here's this other one over, I keep pointing too far off screen now. Here, there's this other thing you might want to go to if you're really looking for that or trying to sell the CEO on this. This is for the nerds. You
Yeah.
know. And the floor is open.
A tie track and a hoodie track.
Oh, what?
A tie track and a hoodie track.
Oh.
So I
Oh,
guess,
show.
I guess. at
Although
this-
where would James Curtis go in this picture? He's got a tie on, but I don't know. I'd probably put him in the hoodie track.
Yeah, that's probably one of the few times you're ever going to see me in a tie. That's why I keep the picture up there.
Any other thoughts, ideas?
XPAC, I did let Aaron know about your idea. And I definitely think we're
Oh,
going to
yeah.
do something like that in the future. Probably not this year. It's going to
Yeah,
take
probably
some-
not this year because we gotta, we were trying to think what we could make that look like, but I think we might not be ready this year, but I think.
And,
next
and
year.
for the uninitiated, boss of the logs,
That'd be fun.
Oh.
which also happens to be
Which-
bottle.
Yes, that's the perhaps more important part.
That'll do.
That's funny. What about, are those the right events? Is sort of like Black Hat and Conf and RSA? I think RSA is probably less of a thing. It's just easy because it's here in San Francisco, so it's easy for us. But are there, yeah, it's a very us-centered one, but are there other events that y'all would plan to go to that we should think about? Or are there, you know, and also like, are there things at those other events that you're more or less willing to skip? Like we're kind of making the assumption that Boss of the Sock will be on Monday night. And so we're hoping we don't have to do our thing on Monday night, but maybe folks would rather skip Boss of the Sock versus, you know, the blowout party. But I haven't really seen a full agenda on the .conf website yet, so.
They haven't even actually officially stated where the location is going to be, other than Las Vegas. We're still waiting on them to just use words and say that, you know.
I do believe it's at the MGM. I think.
Oh, yeah, everybody does.
Everybody knows.
Oh, okay.
It's not been announced. The other, I think another good option may be the Thursday evening. I mean, it's kind of post-com, so
Yeah.
there's a little bit of wear out, but all the spunkers go home, or most of them.
That's true.
So, you know, it's kind of, a lot of the people who are there can't get back home right away, so they stay till Friday, and so they are there for Thursday evening.
Yeah,
Even late afternoon, like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, there's nothing else going on.
yeah.
So,
Or Thursday afternoon, because it,
Mm.
well,
Yeah, just do it earlier. And
yeah,
then
just do it earlier.
right.
East Coast could still take red eyes if they wanted to, and we'd have them properly. We'll get you some depressants so you can sleep on the red eye.
I don't know, but if this were my own company, I'd have to put on my HR hat at this point and say, I don't think you could say that.
I know, well, you know, depending on.
But there you go, at least some air quilts around it.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
Anything else? Any other, like topics or is this a good idea? Like, Ryan's
I wonder
coming.
if you should also
Ryan will be there.
doing
Me and Ryan will
some
hang out.
point-
I'll be at both Black Hat and SplintCon, so I'll come
Perfect.
twice.
Get to
I think
double
it was a
down.
great idea. I'm definitely interested in putting real faces with Zoom faces. So
Yeah.
So back to, I was saying you might want to try to make an actual sales oriented one of these or something similar, less technical content and more, how do I sell this to people, or, things that they may be interested in.
Yeah.
I think you may also want to think about what would happen in 4 or 5 years if you don't associate it with anything else. Like right now, you're kind of wedging your way in near comp, but in a year or two, you might want to just be on your own and be a dedicated thing.
Oh, definitely we do. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
this doesn't mean we would always do it this way for
Yeah.
sure.
Right.
I think this is our,
kind of kickoff style here.
yeah.
And I do like the idea of just whiteboards and some demo boxes to fool around with and ask everybody to be nice and not break stuff. And
Or break stuff also, sometimes helpful.
maybe.
We'll have one station that you're allowed to break. Everything else we want functional. So
There you go. Sounds like a good compromise.
Yeah.
But yeah, and just let people who are using the product start talking, and they'll just go off on their own and start showing each other different things and answering each other's questions. And that's kind of the goal of all this, isn't it? Is to get the
Totally.
customers engaged with each other and you guys.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. I mean, selfishly, like we want to get as much like feedback as we can from you all into, what's working, what's not, what other improvements you'd like to see. But I think really what we want to do is create just like a way for us to like truly just a way for us to meet in person and bond and build those relationships and help one another. So that would be my stated desire. That goodness that happens when you all get together.
So is there any other ideas or comments or something folks would like to know? And you can also ping us. We don't have a Slack channel for this, right? We're a user group planning maybe?
No, I could start one. Yeah. I mean, unless you think it makes sense to keep it in user group because it's like user group adjacent. But if you think we should start a new channel, we can do that.
I'll leave that up to.
Channels are free and that's fine.
but to be clear, were you planning multiple events, or were you looking for feedback on one date?
No, we're going to try and do multiple because we are going to be there anyway from a sponsorship perspective, and we think that's where you all will be. And so the cheesy slogan we came up with is, I don't know, I guess I shouldn't say it's cheesy, but you have choice and control over your data. Cribl Logstream gives you choice and control over your data, and therefore we will give you choice and control over your CriblCon experience as well. So we'll be where you're going to try to be already.
I like this better.
What streams are made of. So yeah. All right. Well, I guess this concludes this portion, unless any other, also like if you don't want to speak out in front of other people, truly, I think I'm just Erin in the community. It's very hard to find. So just hit me up at any time. The other, if you don't mind me just sharing one other thing, the other piece of feedback we were looking for was just about the docs. And I don't know that I necessarily need to share this slide, but since I have it, or I don't have it because now I can't find it. Here it is.
The docs team is looking to figure out how best to get feedback, and this is one way we suggested.
So yeah, just sort of, are docs working? Can you find things? I think we've collected before, or I've seen, just in Slack before, that folks have sort of said that we'd like to see more use case examples, more like real use case examples. But yeah, any other things, like, are you generally finding things? Is search working for you? I think I also noticed some people saying that they're using Google search versus the search on our docs, which I understand. But like other things about your workflow, should we do more? I don't know. I feel like you all are advanced, so it's probably not the right question to ask of you all, but other cloud products certainly have a lot more in-product docs that are more, I guess, prescriptive even around like do this, then do this, and here's the example. And I don't know if those types of docs are helpful or annoying, or, you can always shut them off after a certain point. But certainly when you launch new functionality, sometimes those things are cool to give the tours. I don't know. But yeah.
I found it helpful going through the sandbox to just learn how to do the clicks through.
Yeah.
And related to doc search versus Google search, at least for now, the in-doc search, which is powered by something called Algolia, is probably going to do you better than Google search, but that might change over time as Google gets more clear on the layout of our content. No comments at all about the docs. I care deeply about doc stuff from my past lives.
If someone doesn't want to comment here in the public forum or needs to think about, oh, I got something to say, but I got to figure out how to say it right,
Yeah.
Where should they ping you guys? In the docs channel then is the best spot?
Docs channel is great. And then again, like Rachel has opinions on docs. I have opinions, but they're less well-formed probably. So if you're worried about pissing somebody off, you can also send it to me and I can channel it through other people. But again, like, I hope we convey it that like, we would prefer you piss us off and give us good feedback. We're not going to get pissed. We want to hear the real feedback because we can't fix it if we don't know it's broken or it's not working.
So
I will say, go
go
ahead.
ahead.
I will say, and you will say, but you can go first.
Sure. I was just going to say, I land squarely in the group of people who's probably just going to Google it and not use the search in the docs. And the main reason is because a lot of the stuff I'm Googling has surrounding technologies. So I'm trying to figure out how to do stuff in Docker. I'm trying to figure out how to do stuff in other technologies as well as Logstream.
Yeah.
So Google tends to have a lot of that stuff that I don't expect to be in the docs. And so that's why I just kind of de facto go that route.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Use what works for you. I'm definitely just talking about what's specifically in our docs about our content, about our products. Currently, you're going to probably get better results, but what are you finding externally that's not in the docs that covers? Are you talking about blog posts by us or other things that you're finding to help you?
So I ran up a lot of stuff like persistent storage and Docker. Like there's just a myriad of things that I don't expect to be in your docs, but I fully expect to have issues with.
Have issues with. Yeah, it's hard sometimes to know where the line is between like, documenting other people's products. So that's always a difficulty. And I prefer to link out to other products documentation as appropriate, but there's probably a lot of great blog posts out there and other how-tos that are not written by either vendor or, any of the vendors involved. And I'm curious about how often you're finding that sort of thing. I'd love to hear more, like find out more about when you do find something that's useful like that, so we can also refer to it.
Sure. Yeah, I can't think of any specific use cases, but it's definitely that's the reasoning why I just tend to go to Google. And it's not that your guys' search function isn't perfectly fine. Just that's just the
context
all that I use.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I'm definitely just referring to what you're expecting to find in our own docs about our own product. So that makes sense to me. But yes, the docs team, to be clear, I am not a member of the docs team at this company. I just care a lot because of my past lives. But the docs channel, the docs team hangs out in there and they would be grateful for your feedback. Absolutely. If you find something that's confusing or you think something is missing, please do let us know. And also tell them when something's awesome, because that would be really great as well. It's kind of a thankless task.
I just learned about the docs channel, so that more or less solves the problem. But one thing, I don't usually have good things to say about vendor docs. Cribl's are really good. But the one thing I like about Splunk's docs is that I can go, scroll to the bottom right when I'm thinking about the page. And if I have a problem, I can submit feedback there.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe something like that, or a note that says, here's where you can provide feedback would help folks.
Oh, good idea.
Yeah, I didn't know about the docs channel at all.
So like if we put a note at the bottom of the pages saying, if you have questions, join us in the docs channel, that would be
Yeah, I mean,
cool.
It might be at least a
Maybe a
way
link
to
directly
easily
to it.
point people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. I'm glad to hear that the Splunk docs still have that stuff going on.
Yeah, they're still super responsive too. So
Yay.
they do a really good
Hey.
job.
Excellent.
Yay, Splunk Docs.
Yeah, I'd say like Docs is the one thing where you are running or going to be compared against a really high bar, because well, Splunk Docs is awesome, and I think you're doing a good job at that, and you're also doing a very good job at listening to the feedback. I think adding a real feedback box, like type in what you think and send it, might be even easier than putting a link to join the Docs channel, because the bar is higher for people who are not already on Slack.
Mhm.
So I would add that too. What I have noticed about Splunk Docs and also about Cribl Docs is that sometimes the actual real good explanations are in blog posts. So, like, for example, if you want to set up SAML with Splunk, there is like this 6, 7, 8, 9-year-old blog post on how to do it, and it's still being referenced. Also, it's at some points a little outdated. And if you do these, I'm fine with doing blog posts, but they should, especially if they are referenced in the docs, they should be treated to the same, keeping them current standards than the docs are, because else you get old blog posts that tell you how things were 3 years ago, and especially with a product developing as fast as Cribl does, that doesn't work. So yes, please totally make them part of the docs, link them wherever you can, but keep them current.
Yeah, that's
I like it.
a difficult problem, but I know it's a problem.
I do have a general focus question here. The Cribl Docs seem to assume that the users have a lot of JavaScript knowledge.
Mhm.
It's just there, it's underneath everything. And I think anybody who doesn't even recognize that it really does assume a lot of Java knowledge, JavaScript. And what I'd love to see is I in all the docs and everything else, there are though maybe a few dozen core concepts to JavaScript that if you had a tutorial or a primer just on those, here's the things that come up all the time in JavaScript in Cribl, in Logstream, I should say. But it's always there. It's this kind of stuff, accessing certain fields, whatever it happens to be. It's accessing fields, doing date math, doing other kinds of things, assigning variables, because a lot of times the Cribl Docs do have that in there a little bit, and then they immediately jump to some amazingly advanced thing, and you're like, I missed the medium steps. I don't know how to go from here to there.
Yeah.
I can copy and paste, but if it doesn't quite work for me, I'm just lost because I don't know how I jumped from that simple example at the first to that more core kind of extended example that actually covers all the use cases. So, and I think somebody who knows the topics fairly well probably wouldn't have to spend a whole ton of time coming up with at least a decent little framework of things to look at, things to learn. Here's how this works. And, and then just kind of moves everybody up to that level where then it's not really that much of a problem anymore.
I hear notes being taken.
Sorry.
Yeah, I
No,
can
that's
say
good.
I also agree with that. Even just like a general page with like a list of common JavaScript methods or something like that, and just like a light touch of like, hey, this is related to this, or this might be helpful in this context.
Yeah, kind of not like the way that nobody really documents regex, but
Yeah.
Exactly.
you need to know, you need a good reference at the very least. Yeah.
Right.
So noted.
Everybody who keeps tripping over regex is just going to regex101.com, and then
Learn it.
everybody who knows it well isn't reading that part of the doc anyways.
All righty. Thank you for all of that. Any last minute suggestions or feedback?
I have something that's not necessarily docs related. What about if you did something like feature requests, like a page where you could vote on upcoming features and, ask the community which ones are the popular ones that they want to see, and then, have a status there like coming soon or not gonna ever come, stuff like that.
We Had
You
that
discussed
conversation. Yeah, I think that could be something that we do. There's a couple of things that we feel like we need to tackle first before we can get there, but it's not off the table. There is, I know this doesn't fully answer your question, but sort of as the stopgap for now, there is also a feature request channel in Slack. I don't know if everybody knows that. I will put it in the chat. So, and the product managers are in there, and kind of, they try to, when something's already on the roadmap, they try to provide that visibility of when we think we're going to deliver it. So it's not fully getting to what you're asking for, Edward, but it is kind of our stopgap for now. And hopefully in the future, we can get to doing that, because that's the other thing when we talked about it, it's like, we don't want to do it half-assed where you can do the voting, but then we don't have a great mechanism yet to get everything on the roadmap or to provide that sort of closed loop to you. So, like when we will, or when we did deliver it. So that's our hesitation, but it's
Okay, cool. Thanks.
it's on the feature request roadmap.
Sounds good.
But
Very
definitely
meta.
you like go into that. I don't know. Are you already familiar with that feature request channel?
Yeah, definitely. It's
Yeah.
just it's nice to have like a visual of like, oh yeah, this feature's coming in the next 6 months.
Yeah.
You know, something like that.
Yep. I hear you. Well,
Are you
that's the
more
other-
interested in the voting part? Or are you more interested in the knowing what's coming down the pike part? Because those things those are quite different from one another.
yeah.
The voting part, I tend to think, is kind of a crapshoot. You may all be very interested in a given feature, but there may be a larger scale discussion happening internal to the product org, and
Right.
these things kind of roll of each other. And I hate to see situations where an idea gets voted up a lot, but it's not in the direction that the company's going in, or and so you're like, this isn't a democracy kind of thing.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, personally, I'm more interested in the roadmap, so I know what's
Yeah.
coming in the next 6 months or a
Yeah.
year, so that way I can position myself and our company to, if we have to put aside servers or kind of plan ahead, then we
Yep.
know what's coming, right?
Yeah. And I think like that's something, because we've got a launch coming up in March. Some of you may have noticed some things already out that we've talked about. But like, that's what I was trying to think after we get through this, then how can we do some sort of roadmap presentation in this forum so that you all have sort of that
That would be
sneak
handy.
peek of
Yeah.
what we're doing. So
We just like to be invited, like vampires. This is your user group, and we're not going to send product people here to talk to you unless you want them here. This should be about what you want to hear about. So let us know.
Speaking of topics and what we want to hear, if anybody has anything they'd like to present next month, let me know. You can find me in the user group planning. Just ping me. I'm in there. It's easy. You'll find me. But yeah, that goes for little things, big things, amazing things, or boring things. I'm open to all of them. So, just keep that in mind, that, and it doesn't have to be super polished. You can just, I'll make you a title slide. I do it all the time. It's fun. You may not like what's on it, but
Has to give
I'll
them a
make you one, and-
suggestion, or else it's
great.
good.
And the rest can be you jabbering on or typing on things and doing a demo, or, breaking.
Rich even
stuff
made
down.
me a title. It was full service.
Know that Jeremy Tavan, I don't know how where the emphasis goes, but is going to possibly talk in the future about Redis stuff. And I also know that XPack was talking about, you've been doing a lot of lab testing at home, and I would be interested in hearing about that.
I know, because he was all like, no, I can't do this because I haven't even started on it. He's like, wait, let me try. Click, 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 click. Oh, this is amazing.
Exactly.
You should just talk about it.
Exactly.
I actually will. I thought about actually doing it today, and then I noticed that I have to give a Cribl training tomorrow, which I kind of lost on my calendar. So yeah, maybe next time.
Okay. I'll ping you sometime in the next week or two.
Prepare to be hassled by Rich.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Yeah, and I apologize. We didn't have a whole lot prepared this time. I had one of my kids was sick and my wife's been not a little under the weather, and it's like it's just taken up so much time over the last 3 weeks. So yeah, but this worked out fine. I think this was good. Glad you guys jumped in. I appreciate it. Jump in with questions about CriblCon. Giving your input.
Let me add a thing or two. So for the voting versus tracking thing, I think the tracking thing would be really interesting, because I think at this point I have like 10 or 15 of these Cribl numbers that people give me when I tell them that I want things, and I don't feel super comfortable to go to Dryden and say, like, can you just like go to your Jira and look up these 15 things for me and tell me the status, because I don't think that's a good way to do. So any kind of status would be appreciated, even if it's very rough. Like, we took note and we haven't had time to think about it at all. Is a fine status. We are going to implement this in the next 2 years. Is a fine status. Everything like that would be helpful for some of the things, because usually they come from colleagues or customers asking for it, and then after a month or so they come back to you. So what did they say? And you're like, yeah, they gave me a number. So I think the tracking part would be more helpful for me. The voting would be nice, but that is, well, as you said, it's not a democracy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And another thing is, I recently thought about that. If we that is unrelated. How to properly report things that are, well, usually like tiny bugs or improvements that are not like you work with the product and you notice something is wrong. It's like, it's not like a support case worthy wrong. It's not something that really needs to be discussed, but you also don't want to, like, for every typo you find and everything, you don't want to spam the general channel, and it also doesn't really fit into feature requests. So I wondered if there's a better way to do this, something that is smaller than a support case, especially for people like me who don't have a license. And it's not a feature request and doesn't spam the general channel, because I think we get at that point, as we did in the Splunk Slack, where the general channel becomes kind of crowded. That is less terrible because we have the threading being used, but it's still sometimes rather crowded. And I think we are at the point where we might have to split 1 or 2 topics off to don't fill it too much.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can make a, minor bug reports or something like that. Happy to make whatever channels make sense. And, I've been holding off on making quirks is good. I like that. I've been kind of holding off on that sort of thing because I do want most of the discussions to happen in general. It's definitely not, it was more of a ghost town a year ago. But now we're seeing lots of discussion. So it makes sense to break things out. So yeah, we can definitely do that. And I'm sure eventually we're going to have some sort of portal for that as well. Maybe it is something that can happen in the Q&A site that is ongoing. But yeah, definitely a good idea. Thank you.
And I'm sure you guys don't want to let us actually see all the sausage making process, just a little piece of it.
Jira is terrible, and I don't want to expose anyone to it that doesn't have to see it, honestly.
Yeah, because I'm in the same position. I've got a dozen of those Cribl numbers. I can't even keep track of them because I don't know. Yeah. I don't remember what half of them are for. I just point out things and be like, oh yeah, I follow this one. I'm like, I can't follow anything. I'd love to be able to just follow it. Go to a page. It just says,
yeah.
It's the bug with the little button and, status being worked on. ETA, I don't know, soon, a month or 2.
Yeah.
Even just a page that shows the status, like red is it's still open.
Yeah.
Green is it's closed. And now I know.
Yeah, we'll pass this on. This is something product needs to engage with us on if we're going to do something like that. Definitely take some internal development resources that we currently don't have. So, but I'm always a fan of having people on the hook to build these sorts of integrations for customers so they have more control, more access to what is going to happen in their future, because it definitely matters. As some folks were talking about, it's important to plan for those things, to know when something's going to get fixed so you can push out a project that you're working on, that kind of stuff. Yeah, I agree. These are not easy problems to solve just because of resources, not necessarily because of technical difficulty. And then it also means if we build something like that, then product managers and project managers and have to keep things updated so that what the information you get is accurate. Like, how often does that happen? Do we have to have a process by which that happens? You know, it's more of a social problem. Cool. Anything else? I had suggested that we talk about talks that people were considering submitting to Conf, but it was kind of a joke. I heard that there was a deadline issue. Did everybody get their stuff submitted in time?
There was a deadline issue and they didn't extend it for once. Although apparently, did you hear about the snafu where they totally like turned off the submissions, but then somehow managed to turn them back on accidentally for the rest of the night till the next morning? And I don't know.
That stuff is difficult. It's
Oh
difficult.
yeah, it totally. I mean, like, you know, you click the button and you didn't realize you had already clicked it once. So you click it twice and then, you know, it's back on again. I don't know.
Mhm.
I totally relied on the deadline being extended. So like, yeah, when they extended the second time, I'm actually going to think if I want to do something. And then, well, this decision was clearly taken from me.
Oh, well, no talk for you.
They're definitely struggling with this shortened time frame. I don't have any serious inside information, but I think the team in charge of this was not expecting that to happen, and it was kind of foisted on them last minute.
Yeah.
By the way, we're moving it up. Cut that time in half.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I feel bad. I feel bad.
I do. I know,
You know
many-
very deeply how hard
Well,
this is.
But also I know, like, many of you pay a lot of money to Splunk, but I would ask you to definitely extend some grace and empathy towards the event planners this year, because
They're not the team that caused this problem.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
just doing their best to try to
really
make
are.
it work.
They really
Yeah.
are.
And they also might have to deal with the on-site and virtual thing this year.
They are.
So-
Yeah.
Double chaos.
Yeah, it's really difficult. Yeah.
XPack, you can talk at B-sides.
That's what I was gonna say. You can talk at CriblCon.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'll come to CriblCon if you're talking.
Yeah, I decided that, like, I thought about this for years, and like the last 2 years were like this virtual thing doesn't work for me at all. Like, I'm so done with virtual meetings. Like, I thought I was the person who can totally live in the basement for 10 years without having an issue with that at all. And well, I think COVID proved me wrong, because I cannot take another virtual meeting. Hey, we have this background picture where you can click on imaginary people and then they show you a video about something, and I hate it so much. Like, that conf totally wasn't for me, and we had the same thing in our company and it doesn't work. So I'm totally looking forward to this being a real thing. And the moment I know I'm going to actually be there, I'm going to make plans, but I'm not going to invest any time into doing a recorded video talk, because no, just no.
Yeah, it sucks. It sucks for everyone, honestly.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
All right, are we at the time where I should get a die? And what
Yes.
size die should I get? Do I need a 20-sider or do I need more?
Don't need a 20-sider. Some people have dropped off, but
Oh, cool.
we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 14, 16, including you.
Well, then I'll use a 20 and we'll just ignore. I don't need to be in this here. I'm gonna put this down.
Hey.
Ready?
All right.
Oh, we'll use purple because I think it shows up better.
Alea jagta
Are
est.
we ignoring the bottom 4 or the top 4?
That's your decision.
Okay, well then let's go with number 3.
That is Brian Wasserman. Brian, I see you are here and you're muted. If you would like to receive a swag pack from me, DM me your address, your postal address, and your t-shirt size
Okay,
on Slack.
great. Thank you.
Awesome. And you want to do
Thank
one
you
more?
for coming by.
You want to do one more?
Sure. Yep. Here, I'll do
Whoa,
this. All right.
we're
Oh,
on
yeah,
a
yeah, we
roller
can do that.
coaster
Okay.
action
Whee!
here.
Ready. 3, 2, 1. We can't go that low again unless 2 is somebody. because it can't be me.
It's it would be you.
No, we're not doing me. I already got something. 14. There we go. That's right at
All
the
right.
end.
That is Stephanie Valenzuela. Did Stephanie? Oh, there you are.
Definitely, she's
still
still
here?
there.
I'm here.
That's
Yay.
good.
Yay.
International Women's Day too. We got a woman represent. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Like we
similarly,
meant to.
DM me on the Slack with your postal address and your t-shirt size, and I will send you a sweat pack.
Whoosh.
Thank you.
Yay. Awesome. And yeah, I think it's good
Oh.
for this week.
I forgot something. Hi, everybody. This is the Global Cribl user group for March 8th, 2022. Welcome.
Welcome to the end.
Totally
All
forgot
right,
that
now.
part. So
Okay.
I'll think back about some stuff, and anybody else has stuff, we can totally squeeze in 2 things possibly, or we can just put you down for later. And if you want to give a little talk about something or present something, that'd be great. So
We
I'm
do
always
have
a big
office
fan of
hours
having them
tomorrow.
queued up.
Oh yeah.
Did you guys hear that? We have office hours tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. Overview of Windows pack updates and troubleshooting packs with David.
Woohoo.
So, people enjoy the Windows pack. I guess there's new troubleshooting packs. So
Yeah.
check that out tomorrow. And the link is also in the community calendar, which is pinned from the general channel. But they always also post it in the office hours channel.
All right, then. I think that covers the.
Wait. I've been dying to ask this question for the past hour. For you, Rich.
Me.
Well,
Okay.
Yeah. Why do you have 2 doors in that room?
Oh, one's a closet and one goes outside.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can totally even see.
Doors can go different places, Mo.
Closet.
It was just killing me. Like, why 2 doors?
Oh.
Okay.
The best part though is the view out this way.
Ooh,
Oh, look at that.
pretty.
So the lake is of course still frozen because this is northern Wisconsin where the lake is frozen
Mhm.
4 or 5 months.
I
out of
lived
the
in
year.
Madison for 3 years. I loved it.
Yeah. So yeah, and we have 2 feet of snow right now, but that's not unusual either. So it's fine. This is about the time of year it'll start melting off. Although I think today's above freezing, but we're not going to get above freezing except for one day in the next like 10 days. So, but that's okay because I'll be out in California in another week and a half.
You are. Where are you gonna be?
Yes. But I don't think I'm going to get down to Mordor. So sorry. But I don't have plane tickets to Conf, but I definitely have a hotel room. Hopefully it's going to be at the MGM, but those are cancelable. So we'll see. Anyway, so I guess this is it. This is the end. Farewell. Auf Wiedersehen.
Thanks, everyone. And yeah, if you
Bye,
have
all.
other docs or feature requests or
You know where to-
CriblCon ideas, just hit us up.
I gotta turn off this left-right thing because I just can't like.
Yeah, you're looking in the wrong direction.
Oh, wrong pointy. Yeah.
All right. See y'all on chat.
Thanks all.
All right.
Everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.